الله الرحمن الرحيم شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم محمد سيد الكونين والثقلين والفريقين من عرب ومن عجم ثم الرضا عن أبي بكر وعن عمر وعن علي وعن عثمان ذي الكرم يا ربي بالمصطفى بلغ مقاصدنا واغفر لنا ما مضى يا واسع الكرم مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم الصلاة والسلام عليك يا سيدي يا رسول الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا حبيب الله. Most honorable viewers and listeners, brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. You're watching VoUK's, meaning Voice of UK's Darse Quran, and I am your host, Mohammed Naveed Ashrafi. Inshallah ta'ala, in today's Darse Quran, I will be sharing with you information from selected verses of the 11th juz, the conclusion of Surat At-Tawbah, and verses from Surah Yunus. In the introductory ayat, verses of the Quran al-Majid of the 11th juz, Allah Azza wa Jal, His kalam begins with يَعْتَذِرُونَ إِلَيْكُمْ إِذَا رَجَعْتُمْ إِلَيْهِمْ, referring to the munafiqun, the hypocrites. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala exposes them at the time of the Battle of Tabuk. Some of them would deliberately, meaning the munafiqun would deliberately stay behind because they did not want to risk their life, as they were not believers, they were not Muslims. So there are many signs of the munafiqun that they would not attend the late prayer, meaning the Isha prayer or the Fajr prayer. And when it would come to engaging in war for the protection of Islam, for the defense of Islam and the Muslims and the honor of the Muslims, for the protection of the honor of Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the munafiq, the hypocrites, would remain behind and present their lame, feeble excuses. So Allah Azza wa Jal exposes the munafiqun, He condemns their actions. This happens throughout the Quran al-Majid. In fact, there is an entire chapter against the munafiqun where they are condemned and exposed, and their traits, their qualities are all mentioned and exposed. So Allah Azza wa Jalla says, يَعْتَذِرُونَ إِلَيْكُمْ إِذَا رَجَعْتُمْ إِلَيْهِمْ, that they will make excuses to you when you return towards them. O beloved, say to them, لَا تَعْتَذِرُوا لَن نُؤْمِنَ لَكُمْ قَدْ نَبَّأَنَا اللَّهُ مِنْ أَخْبَارِكُمْ. Make no excuses, we will never believe you. Allah has already given your news. قَدْ نَبَّأَنَا اللَّهُ مِنْ أَخْبَارِكُمْ وَسَيَرَى اللَّهُ عَمَلَكُمْ وَرَسُولُهُ. And soon Allah and His Rasul will see your actions. Meaning, Allah and His Rasul, they have seen your deeds. Then you will be returned to Him who knows all the unseen. ثُمَّ تُرَدُّونَ إِلَىٰ عَالِمِ الْغَيْبِ وَالشَّهَادَةِ, who knows the all seen and that which is seen. فَيُنَبِّئُكُمْ بِمَا كُنْتُمْ تَعْمَلُونَ, and He will tell you of what you used to do. So meaning that by the time the Muslims would reach Medina al-Munawwara from the Battle of Tabuk, the hypocrites who had remained behind will be concocting their false and fake excuses for not going to the battle. They will try and convince you. But these people are being exposed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is being informed by Allah Azza wa Jal about these people. Then those people who are the true and upright believers, meaning the Sahaba Kiram Ridwanullahi Ta'ala alayhim ajma'in. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He commends them, He praises them, and mentions, stipulates their qualities. So their qualities are mentioned. The Sahaba Kiram Ridwanullahi Ta'ala alayhim ajma'in, they also realize their importance in the court of Allah Azza wa Jal, in the court of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and the coming generations, meaning the Muslims who would come in the future, us today and until Judgment Day, they will realize the greatness, the superior status Allah Azza wa Jal has bestowed to the congregation of the companions of Rasulullah, the illustrious companions of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. In verse number 100 of Surat At-Tawbah, Allah Azza wa Jal says, وَالسَّابِقُونَ الْأَوَّلُونَ, and the first and the foremost, مِنَ الْمُهَاجِرِينَ وَالْأَنصَارِ, of the muhajirin, of the emigrants, meaning those who migrated from Makkah Mukarramah to Medina Munawwara under the command and order of Allah and His Rasul, and the helpers, the Ansar, who are already residents of Medina Munawwara, and those people, and those who follow them, وَالَّذِينَ تَبَعُوهُمْ بِإِحْسَانٍ, those who follow them with good. رَضِيَ اللَّهُ عَنْهُمْ وَرَضُوا عَنْهُ, Allah is pleased with them and they are pleased with Him. وَأَعَدَّ لَهُمْ جَنَّاتٍ تَجْرِي تَحْتَهَا الْأَنْهَارُ خَالِدِينَ فِيهَا أَبَدًا ذَلِكَ الْفَوْزُ الْعَظِيمُ, Allah has prepared for them gardens beneath which are flowing rivers, wherein they shall remain forever, and that is the greatest triumph, the greatest success. So the first and foremost believers are those who had performed salah in the direction of both qiblas, meaning towards the Masjid al-Aqsa, which was the initial qibla, and thereafter Masjid al-Haram. These are the first and foremost believers. This is one tafsir, one interpretation of this verse. The other interpretation is that it is referring to the Battle of Badr, as these were the first companions to take part in the first ever battle that took place against the kuffar, the Battle of Badr. Or on the allegiance, the pledge of allegiance that was taken at the time of Ridwan, the first person to accept Islam from between the men and the women was Sayyida Khadija radiyallahu ta'ala anha, Ummul Mu'mineen, the mother of the believers, the first wife of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam. She was the first person to accept Islam, and the first, of course, from the women. The first from the men was Sayyiduna Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. The first from the children was Sayyiduna Ali radiyallahu anhu, and the first from the slaves was Sayyiduna Zayd ibn Haritha. So this also means that Muslims until the day of judgment, who will be following the footsteps of the Muhajirin and the Ansar in having and adopting the beliefs that they believed, in engaging in following the footsteps of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam as they did, in loving and believing and demonstrating reverence to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam as the Muhajirin Ansar did. Those Muslims are also included in this verse, that Allah is pleased with them and they are pleased with Him, and they will also be given the same reward. So this verse also establishes that Allah is pleased with the entire congregation of the Sahaba Kiram Ridwanullahi Ta'ala alayhim ajma'in. So today we see groups of people who claim to be Muslims, but they are not, they don't have any connection with the pristine Islam, with the real Islam. Why? Because they denigrate the Sahaba, they disparage the Sahaba, they insult the Sahaba, they insult some of the wives, our blessed mothers, as the wives of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam are the mothers of the believers. The Quran testifies to that. النبي أولى بالمؤمنين من أنفسهم وأزواجه أمهاتهم. The Nabi, in Surah Al-Ahzab it is mentioned, he is closer to the believers than their lives, and his wives are their mothers. So such people who disparage the Sahaba, they have no connection with the real Islam. They are not real believers. As all of the Sahaba, Allah is pleased with them. Their efforts, their immense and mammoth sacrifices that they made for Islam, for the propagation of Islam, for the protection of Islam. They sacrificed their country, their place where they were living, the city of Makkah al-Mukarramah, their birthplace, their properties, their lands, their families. They severed ties with those who were non-believers, who did not accept Islam. They made immense sacrifices. They were tortured, persecuted. Why? For pleasing Allah Azza wa Jal and His Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, for Islam. So that we today would have Islam. We are indebted to the Sahaba. If it was not for their efforts today, there would be no Islam, and then this Islam was passed down to us. So Allah is pleased with them and they are pleased with Him. And no believer can ever attain the lofty status that is enjoyed by the Sahaba Kiram, Ridwanullahi Ta'ala alayhim ajmain. No matter how great a wali may be, how much worship one performs, whether he fasts throughout the day, he becomes Sa'imud Dahar and Qa'imul Layl, one who remains awake in the night, engaging in optional worship after completing his faraid. And no matter how much he donates in the path of Allah, no matter what his deeds are, but he can never attain or reach the lofty status that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed to those people who were the companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, as that can only be achieved if one was alive at the time of the Prophet, and whilst being a Muslim, a mu'min, he had the honor of seeing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He remained in that state and left the dunya in that state. Allah is pleased with them and they are pleased with Allah, and to all, each and every one of them, Allah has promised paradise. وَكُلًّا وَعَدَ اللَّهُ الْحُسْنَى. Also a reference is made to another verse of the Quran where there were 3 companions who were unable to attend the battle of Tabuk due to their own personal circumstances, for which they were immensely guilty. So what did they do? They tied themselves out of being ashamed against the pillars of Masjid Nabawi. And the Prophet ﷺ inquired about them, and they said that they are those people who are feeling guilty out of remorse and regret. They've tied themselves up against the pillars, and they are awaiting being pardoned, being forgiven. The Prophet ﷺ left them in that state for approximately 50 days. They were left. Boycott was established. No one was able to converse with them. And they were, even when they would say their salam, they were ignored. This was their punishment for keeping away for not attending that battle when they were required to, because of their wealth. And then later on they were forgiven. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He pardoned them, and Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam also pardoned them. Reference is made to those people in the verse which is وَعَلَى الثَّلَاثَةِ الَّذِينَ خُلِّفُوا حَتَّى إِذَا ضَاقَتْ عَلَيْهِمُ الْأَرْضُ بِمَا رَحُبَتْ وَضَاقَتْ عَلَيْهِمْ أَنفُسُهُمْ وَظَنُّوا أَلَّا مَلْجَأَ مِنَ اللَّهِ إِلَّا إِلَيْهِ ثُمَّ تَابَ عَلَيْهِمْ لِيَتُوبُوا إِنَّ اللَّهَ هُوَ التَّوَّابُ الرَّحِيمُ. And to the 3 who were left behind, so much so that the earth, being so vast, became constricted for them, and they became tired of their own lives. وَضَاقَتْ عَلَيْهِمْ أَنفُسُهُمْ وَظَنُّوا أَلَّا مَلْجَأَ مِنَ اللَّهِ. And then they thought, and then they believed that there is no refuge from Allah. There is no refuge from Allah except Allah Himself. Then He returned to them, meaning Allah turned to them with the quality, with the attribute of forgiving them, that they might remain repenting. Allah is the one who is undoubtedly the most relenting. Inna Allah huwa at-Tawwabur Rahim. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He forgave them, as these people were not hypocrites. They were the true companions and true upright believers, and hence they were forgiven. The hypocrites, they are condemned throughout the Quran al-Majid in verses of the Quran, and they are exposed, and believers are warned about their traits, so that we can protect ourselves from such horrible habits and traits and qualities that are possessed by the munafiqeen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala encourages the believers also to remain in the company of those who are truthful, both in beliefs and in actions. In this juz, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu taqullaha wa kunu ma'as sadiqeen. Stay with us, respectable brothers and sisters. I will join you inshallah after a very short break. Assalamu alaikum.